Good evening, good evening. Welcome in to another night of the Cantrell Country Travelway Cruise Line Show. Thank you for being here tonight, guys. Welcome in to all those that are coming in. And it's good to see you. We will be having some fun tonight. We're just going to talk travel. So definitely, we're gonna traveling is always fun. Don't care what anybody says. Traveling is traveling, and you got to have fun. But welcome in, guys. Jeannie, hi Jeannie, welcome in. Yep, it's good to see you guys tonight. All right. I hope y'all are doing good. Yeah, it's mainly going to be me tonight. So, how are you doing, Jeannie? I figured some of you guys would be over there in Pete's thing doing the sports. I know he's doing a basketball game on the Deuce. I'm kind of eating but we're traveling tonight. That's good. Hopefully we'll get some other people coming in here in a couple of minutes. But so yeah, I'm doing okay too. Been a long day. Another crazy day in the neighborhood at work. But it is what it is. We get through the day. But anyways, we're talking traveling. We're crazy thing of it is, we're coming to spring. A lot of people at this point in time, they start looking. Yeah, that's about it. The kids. They're driving a lot of people crazy and things like that, but it is what it is. Mary Carol, welcome in. Good to see you tonight. Good to see you tonight. So yeah, we're just gonna talk travel. Like we said, what? Just gonna kind of talk about what time of year is the best time to travel. Well, the best time of year to travel. It just depends on what you're doing. I mean, where you're going, what kind of adventure you're looking for, what you're seeking to do on a vacation. I'm doing okay, Mary. How about you? I hope Adam, Reba, and Blake are doing good as well. Good to see y'all in here. But so comes down to it. When is the best time of year? Let me ask you: if you guys could travel, what part of the year would you do the most traveling? Would you do it in the fall? Would you do it in the spring? Would you do it during the winter months? Would you do it in the summer months? Because it just depends on who you are, what you're seeking, what Jeannie said. Oh, Jeannie, you do traveling in the spring. Well, and that a lot of people do. But then there's a lot of people that travel during this. It just depends on what you're doing. Some people would rather travel during the summer. A lot of people would travel during the fall. Um, I mean, like obviously, if you're a big skier and you love skiing, well, obviously you want to travel out west during the winter months where a lot of the snow when the snow hits out west on the ski slopes and a lot of the ski resorts out west in like Colorado, you know, and all that out there. Um, for me, I like spring because, especially if you're looking to travel for cruise lines, to me, spring is the best time to do it. Because you're not facing hurricane season, and it depends on where you're going too. I mean, but even then, if you're traveling the Pacific, you still have to watch out for um, hurricanes out there, particularly if you're traveling between, let's say, the West Coast and Hawaii. Um, and then you got to think about it and look at it that if you're traveling to like the eastern, if you're traveling to like the Asian countries and all that, you've got to watch out for the tsunamis out there. Um, so it just depends on what you're doing. If you're traveling to Europe, um, you just have to make sure you pack for the right weather. Um, some people like to some people like to travel there in the winter months when it's a little bit cooler, and that's cool. I mean, there's because you also got especially if you like to ski and all that, you do got the Swiss Alps and a bunch of the mountains over there that you can ski down and all that. But then you've got beautiful landscapes that surround the areas of the Swiss and Denmark and Norway and Sweden. I mean, there's just a bunch of beautiful scenery, and let alone talking about thousands of history within those countries, all the way back to the Vikings and all that. You know, so I mean, now to me, it just depends where I'm going. If I wanted to do Australia, if I want the heat, then obviously I would travel. And it depends on what country you're traveling to and traveling when. Like if you're going from like right now, we are in the heart of Australia's summertime. So for me right now, if I lived in a state that was cold and I wanted to get away from cold and go somewhere warm and somewhere interesting, and do nature things. I mean, there is a ton to do in Australia. I mean, you got wineries, you got out, just a lot of areas out there that are outskirts. They do have their mountains that you can travel into. They definitely have their beaches that you can go to. I mean, obviously, you got on one side of on the east side of Australia, you got the Great Barrier Reef. That honestly, I would love to scuba or even snorkel to see it, which is awesome. Um, so it just depends on when you go. I mean, obviously, if you're talking now, if you love cruises and you love going to the Caribbean, you know, uh, if you're going between June and the end of November, well, you just have to be aware of the fact that that is hurricane season. Um, Obviously, you want to be, so you definitely want to be watching for, the weather. I mean, even then, even in the spring, you can actually get some cold days on the ship. Like I said, I know I was just talking with my client the other day, um, and I told her, I said, make sure you guys are aware of the weather, because I don't know what it'll be like. I can't, I mean, that's the only thing that I can't guarantee you, that the weather, what the weather will be doing. I mean, they could have some nice days, they could have some cold days. Um, you know, Especially when you're on the ship, you just don't know. I mean, if you get, I will tell you, on the deck, on the Sunday on the cruise that I went, it was rainy and cold on the deck. Um, on the Sunday before we were due back into port, which the cruise I took was out of Mayport, which is just about north of Jacksonville, Florida. And it was one of the carnival ships called the Elation. Well, I didn't even think about checking the weather as much as that. I mean, all I could tell was, I mean, I checked the weather, but I think I checked it for, like, the Friday and Saturday, because I knew that we leave on Thursday, we come back on Monday. I mean, we did a 4-day cruise, 4-day, 3-night cruise. So, and I was actually checking the weather. Well, obviously Thursday when we left, it was sunshiny and warm here, and we did. When did we do ours? Trying to think. I'm trying to remember what month we actually did that cruise. I don't know. I want to think it was October when we did it. So we still got some good weather. Um, and I believe it was October, I think. But obviously the weather, so when we left, it was sunshiny. The next day, um, it was actually our first stop was in Nassau. So obviously we stopped in Nassau, and we hung around. We went to some of the stores, and just some. We did some local things. We didn't wander too far from the ship, partially because Mom was starting to not feel good, and then Dad fell into it shortly. And this, um, so I mean, obviously, you know, obviously it was a good thing. Well, it wasn't a good thing, but we did get to at least enjoy a little bit of Nassau and saw a little bit of scenery. Not like I was used to, not like that I would have loved to. Um, but then we got to Freeport, and I think the most that I did was I walked around some of the shops that were near the dock, and did some of them, and then pretty much came back on the ship. Didn't go too far, um, because by that point, Mom and Dad were both sick, and they were in the cabin, and they weren't feeling the best. And then, of course, the weather started getting. By that night, the weather started changing, and you could actually see some of the waves from. If you sat on the deck, there was some windows on the starboard side of the ship that you could actually had seats, and you could look out and you could watch the ocean. You could see the waves coming up, and they were pretty decent waves. I mean, they were coming pretty close to, so I mean, this was, the elation is, if what you got to understand is, the elation is one of the smaller cruise ships for Carnival. So it wasn't like it was a big one of the big monstrosity cruise lines. I think the tonnage was only a little over 100,000 something on the tonnage. But by all means, it was not. It was definitely not a hurricane. It was just bad weather. So I mean, but even then, no matter whether you travel in the spring or travel in the fall, especially between the June and November, you really got to watch where the weather is doing out in the Caribbean and the Atlantic because of the hurricane season. That's why, to me, one of the best times to travel on cruise lines would actually be, for me, I would recommend February, March, April. Um, could you get some bad weather? Again, yeah, you can get some bad weather, but not like it would be as if you were trying to travel between June and November 30th, where you could get regular storms, or unfortunately, you could come cross paths with a hurricane. Now, I mean, most of the time, the ships, when if they do see a storm like that coming, they usually do try to steer around it. Um, but obviously, even with that, you still would feel the effects of the storm, and you're going to get rocked. The ship is going to rock a little bit, even with the stabilizers. They got things on the ship called stabilizers that are actually underneath the water, but it helps stabilizes the ship so it's not rocking back and forth really bad. Um, and that's actually how a lot of people end up getting seasick. Um, Now, thank goodness I never did get seasick, but that's not to say that the next cruise I go on I won't. Hope not, but doesn't. Needless to say, hope doesn't mean I won't. So, you know, so my recommendation is, I mean, just if you ever have friends traveling or you travel with friends, just make sure you're aware of where you're going, what your plans are, and then plan accordingly. Because obviously, you want to plan things around you depending on what you do. Now, like me, even if I did a cruise during the summer months, but let's say I was going to Antarctica and maybe sailing out of Brazil and around and all the way back to Colombia, the side of Colombia, um, and maybe part of that is doing the MSC cruises, which actually take a day or two to go down to Antarctica, which I think I think it only takes a day or two south, just south of that. But if they went down there, obviously, obviously, I would take into the account is it cold in Antarctica, so I probably would be wearing some thick sweaters, some making sure I have some thick coats. Because I mean, obviously, like right now, the south of the, anything south of the equator is pretty much in summertime. Um, but anything north of the equator, we're all in the middle of wintertime. Which is really weird, but that is what it is. That's all you can really say. But just be prepared. You know, obviously, and make sure you get plenty of rest. Traveling, just make sure if you do any traveling, make sure you get rest before you leave. I mean, I myself I always love to make sure that I travel, I get good night's sleep the night before. Um, so, but so I mean, so as far as traveling a certain type of year, you just got to go with what you feel is best for you. I mean, and I will tell you this: as a travel agent, when I talk to my clients, I intend to ask. I mean, do you know, ask them about where they're going. Are they aware of what the weather is like in that point in time? Um, because obviously, I would definitely bring up make sure that they're traveling and packed for where they're going. Like I said, my first client, they leave on their cruise this coming Thursday, a week from today. They leave for the Caribbean for, let's see, they're going the 8th through the 12th. So they're going 1, 2, 3, or 5 days, 4 nights. And they're doing one of the Carnival cruises out of Port Canaveral. So obviously I did tell them, I said, based on my experiences, and again, we're talking about, and actually, no, I stand corrected. It was September when we did this cruise. So we were right in the middle of, I think we did our cruise, middle of September. So we were right in the dog days of summer. We're right in the middle of hurricane season. So, those are just things that you definitely want to keep in mind as you're doing it. And again, no matter when you go, you definitely want to keep track of, make sure you're packed for the right weather. And that could even be, obviously, like during the summers and that, there's certain times that you really want to make sure you're packed, even if you're going to Hawaii. I do know that they can get a lot of rain. So you want to make sure that you pack a lot of, rain stuff as well as just, sunshiny. And I mean, because most of it being that's in the middle of the Pacific, most of the time you are going to get warm weather, but you can get severe storms and even hurricanes. And you just want to make sure that you're traveling. I mean, to me, especially now, like it depends on how you're traveling too. I mean, like if you're flying, obviously to me, if I had to fly somewhere and I would not be flying in especially if you're coming from states where they get a lot of snow and all that. Obviously, to me, I wouldn't do as much flying during the winter months as I would, say, during the summer and the spring and even the fall. The fall is good too, but once the winter months hit, most of the traveling I would do would probably be by car, just because of the fact that I mean myself, particularly if I could. There's a lot of places I would love to drive to. Obviously, I would love to, and I haven't been there in years. There's the Sault Ste. Marie locks up in Upper UP Peninsula of Michigan. There's the sand dunes over on the west side of Michigan. Um, and as much as I hate to say it, the Wisconsin Dells, and then obviously Minnesota, and the Dakotas where you've got, the Yellow National Stone Park and things like that. To me, those are places that I would love to drive, only because of the fact that I have driven. Interesting fact is that one time we did drive, and I don't know why we did it, but we drove up. We actually came down across. I think we went to Memphis that one year, me and my family, and we ended up driving down from Memphis through, the west part of Tennessee, or the height of it, into Alabama, into Mississippi, and then of course that's when we picked. Obviously, we picked up I-90 and took it back across back to the state of Florida, and this was actually sometime, and this would have been sometime after we probably some of the first few years that we actually moved down to Florida. And it really is. I mean, there are so many beautiful drives. I mean, I can tell you there are so many areas to drive around Nashville that it's just amazing. I would love to go up to St. Louis and see the Golden Arches, or the Golden Arch, or whatever it is. Or I'm trying to remember what it's called. My brain is dead. It's been a long day, but and again, I'm not big on traffic when it comes to traveling by car, but as you're looking at it and you're traveling, I wouldn't mind driving to Austin, San Antonio, where the Alamo is. San Antonio, something like that. Yeah, but there's parts of Texas I wouldn't mind driving into. I mean, obviously, I'm not. I mean, there's certain things that I did drive. We have driven to, like we've driven to Port Orleans or New Orleans, down in Louisiana. So, if I ever get back there, it ain't a big problem if I do. If I don't, but how you travel is going to impact on when you travel, how long you want to travel. Obviously, if I could drive from here to Disneyland and then spend several days or spend a few days at Disneyland, I would. I mean, obviously, it would take 5 to 7 days to drive across country. Unless you're someone that's crazy and can drive through the night. Yeah, thank you, Jeannie. I was trying to think of it. I couldn't get it out of my head. I knew it was the Gateway Arch. I knew it was some type of arch in the Gateway Arch. I knew it was something like that, and I couldn't. Brain lapse was in the middle, but obviously, So I mean, to me, driving is some of the best, and I will tell you this. There's parts that I would drive even up and down. There's parts in the New England area I want to drive up to, but I also know there's certain areas you have to be careful of because of traffic and certain other reasons too. But yeah, they definitely would love to see the Gateway Arch. I mean, honestly, because obviously, like I said, one of the biggest things that is coming and that I want to do is actually take a river cruise all the way from New Orleans up to Memphis, but then um, what is that city in the upper part of Louisiana? There's a city in the upper part of Louisiana that goes from there up to St. Louis. And that cruise is actually going to be handled by the Viking cruise line, which they just started last year with that. Um, but I can only imagine cruising up and down the Great Mississippi, and then sitting there to think about how those people traveled up and down there on those small barges where they had a steering till, and you had to physically use poles to push the boats up and down, except unless it was a steam powered steamboat. But even with the steamboats, those steamboats could only get to the certain parts of the Mississippi back in those days. You actually had to use small boats like if you have ever watched Davy Crockett and King of the River, Pirate of the River, or something. Oh, then I know. Um, but obviously, so I mean, they ended up having to use boats like that. It's things like that that I find unique. But again, you go to if you going out to the Grand Canyon, I would love. I don't know. There's just something about it that I would rather travel. And my thing is, here's the other thing: traveling by train wouldn't be such a bad idea either. Um, especially if you're looking to do more interactive activities, then obviously driving is not the thing. Especially if you're kind of dealing with time, but yet you want to be able to do interactive things with the family along the way and that. But if you're dealing with your time and you want to get there and enjoy wherever it is you're traveling to, such as the Colorado, the Grand Canyon or Yellowstone National Park, or, I would love to go see the big dam out in Colorado. That's the look of that. It's just got to be tremendous and awesome. So again, to me, sometimes driving is a major option for me, especially if you like the beauty, and especially if you're into photography. Sometimes you can get better shots. But then again, now if you're looking at another mode of transportation, which is train, especially if you're dealing with time, then train's another way to get there. One, it takes you less half the time of a little bit longer than would be if you were to fly, shorter if you were to just drive. But I would, even with a train, you would still get to see more of the beautiful landscape than it would be if you were to fly. So it just depends on how you want to do, so as far as traveling, when you're traveling and what season, it's going to be different. Just be aware of what your weather's going to be like and your temperatures are going to be like. Like I said, I've traveled I've traveled in the spring. I've traveled in the summer. I've traveled in, and believe me, I've traveled up and down the I-75 corridor, all the way from Michigan to the deep south of Florida, to tell you that, honestly, tell me, um, and especially traveling during the winter months up in like into, the northern part of Kentucky, going into Ohio and Michigan and Indiana, when it gets the weather and it does get those big storms, it is a mess to drive through. Now, to me, I mean, I can still drive that weather, but I prefer not to have to drive into that weather any more than I absolutely would need to, just because. So, I mean, is there any? I mean, is there anything you guys would want to see or travel to if you could? And how would you travel? How would you travel to it? Get to it. Because somebody, I do know one show that we did. I know somebody said they would love to go to Europe, but they would love to do it as a cruise. I mean, that I wouldn't. I would love to do, because obviously the cruising itself would take 2 to 3 days, and then you would start stopping in your ports. That, to me, would be one of the best types of cruises you can do. You only go by land vehicle, Jeannie? Well, I've spent my time in the Navy, so I mean, obviously, I love my vehicles by land, water, air, or sea. Well, yeah, but flying is not that bad, and you're talking someone, Jeannie, that is. I had afraid of heights all my life. I've had jobs where I had to overcome those heights, which has actually helped me to be able to even do the roller coasters just at Disney. Um, and I mean, that's like the first roller coaster I ever rode was like the corkscrew. Now, that wasn't so much the height, that was just, I wasn't a big roller coaster fan back then. Now, most of the roller coasters that I ride, if I don't ride it, it was because of the thing. And the biggest roller coaster I've rode to date was the Mako at SeaWorld. And that's because I allowed my nephew talk me into going along with his mom and my great nephew onto it, which it wasn't bad. I opened my eyes somewhat, kept kept them closed part of the way, opened them up part of the way on some of them. So I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and it was, you did sit down in a sit down vehicle, so it wasn't so bad, but But so I mean, and like I said, that's why I'm looking forward to. I know for a fact that it'll be the first time I will have traveled, but it'll be the first time in years that I will have flown. But I know when I go to the Baltimore meetup in, I'm going to fly up there, but then I will rent a car and travel. So, and I got to start looking into. But yeah, so I mean, so it's interesting as to when somebody would travel and when they wouldn't travel. Everybody's different. So oh Jesus Pete. Hit the wrong thing. Meant to. Sorry, Mike. Hit the wrong thing. I'm actually doing my stream right now.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you were doing because you never said anything.
I didn't know if I was or not. I didn't decide until. I mean, you guys can come on if you want. I'm not. I mean.
I'm gonna be going to bed in 30 minutes, and I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be going much longer. I'm just.
All right.
Yeah. So.
But I will be there this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, okay. Yep. Yeah, I hit the wrong thing. Sorry, didn't mean to.
Oh, no, not at all. It's fine. I didn't know what was going on anyway. So
yeah, I'm surprised you guys didn't get the notifications that I was going off.
I never got anything.
Well, you know what? Part of it is that the channel is still young, so.
It's okay.
Yep.
But I will be there on Saturday.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I was looking at something else. Sorry, guys. No, I didn't scare him. I went to go hit something and it hit the video chat call. Dude, no. Didn't scare him. They just didn't know I was going on. They didn't know. I didn't notify him or Richard that I was going live tonight. Because I really wasn't sure if I was going to go live tonight, but I did, and I thought I'd hold off and thought I'd give them the night off. So, because I know that they hang with, they got the family and things like that, but nah, I didn't scare them. But for anybody that might be ninja watching, or if you catch the replay on this, make sure you guys come check me out. Share it out. We talk about travel tips here. We will be back 2 and 2 as I play my. And if you are looking to travel, okay, if it'll let me get there. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Hi, my name is David, and I am the travel agent and owner of the Cantrell Country Travelway. I am here to help you with your travel needs from beautiful sights across our great country to beautiful voyages of vast oceans. While on a cruise or learning about and seeing historical cultural cities across Europe, whatever your needs, come talk to me. I am a very friendly and honest person, will help you with your travel wants and desires. So like our slogan says, let the Cantrell Country Travelway help you find that magical vacation. All right. Anyways, welcome back, guys. Yeah, thank you for putting those in there. So if you do catch this replay and you like hearing what we're talking about, this is what we do on Tuesdays or Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays we spend time talking about Disney travel and traveling and merchandise things like that. And then on Thursdays, we talk about everything from cruise lines, sailing on cruises, what cruise lines, determine we talk about, to just different travel tips, tricks, and places to go. I am a travel agent, and I do help people travel. So if you're looking to travel, please let me know. If you have any questions, again, Jeannie, one of my moderators, has put the links in there to get a hold of me. Feel free to contact me or send me a message on Instagram or send it to me on Facebook. We will take care of it. But welcome into those that are joining us. We are just having fun talking about traveling. Normally, I am doing this show with a couple other gentlemen, but they did not know. Normally I'm doing with a gentleman named Mike and a gentleman named Richard, who's my partner channel, Boom and Cheesa. Make sure you guys go check him out. They normally would be here tonight, but I decided at the last minute to just keep the show going tonight, and really didn't get time to let them know that I was going live. So, so they got to have a night off, because I know they've been streaming here and there, and then I know they're on a lot of my shows a lot of times. So they definitely they earn some nights off sometimes. So, but so looking forward to it. I'm continuing looking forward to helping this channel grow. Hopefully it'll help my business grow as well. I do hope that can get some people to come on and do some interviews. So with that, guys, I don't know anything else. Just that, whatever time of year you travel, think about your mode of transportation that you want. Think about your weather when at that time of year that you're traveling. Make sure you're prepared to travel for that weather. And can't say enough. So, and again, if you're new to my channel and you like what you see, hit the thumbs up, share me out. Again, we talk about this. I am developing a third show for this channel. We're actually going to be doing, and that show is kind of going to be more of a pre-recorded show between me and my other hosts. We will be looking and visiting at the different parks from around the U.S. We will be pretty much pre-recording it, and of course, once we play it, then I'll be live in the chat room to be able to answer any questions for it. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be a very interesting show to do, and we'll see how it goes. We might even end up doing some live streams on it. Don't know. Hard to say at this point in time, but it's we love what we do, and we carry it on and do what we love, and hopefully y'all have fun. And for those that are new and watching, so with that, guys, I'm going to say, like my slogan says, let Cantrell Country Travelway help you find a magical vacation. Thank you for being here, Jeannie. Thank you for being here, Mary. We'll see you. Don't forget, Saturday night on the main channel, we will be doing the Disney news. We will be doing the extra Disney Cafe chat. So thank you guys for being here. Have a great night, and see you soon.